So it's been a while since we've done one of these videos or talked about the state of robots. So I thought we'd do it now. What are we, halfway through 2026? And let's be honest, robots, I don't think anyone expected, probably even the devs did not expect the game to be going now in 2026 when it started in, 2014? I started playing like 2015, 2016. So we're going to go through a couple different categories, talk about these relevant categories in robots, and then I'm gonna rate each category and how robots is doing in these things. Let's start with the equipment power creep situation in the game. So it's no secret, power creep, if you don't know, in games and often in live service games like robots, online PvP games, it's how quickly new robots and weapons and modules, pilots, whatever, replace older gear. It's no secret now. I think we're all kind of used to the rinse and repeat cycle where it's every month and a half or so, there's a test server. Then that robot will come out and it will usually instantly be the best robot or weapon in the game. Then it's the meta for a month or so. Then the next robot comes out and is a little bit better. And then once in a while, there'll be a big reset with a rebalance, like what we're having on the test server right now, where a bunch of things are nerfed. For example, this test server rebalance, the Annex R and Vector aren't getting nerfed, but everything else is, so then they will stand out even more. And with the power creep problem, can free-to-play players realistically keep up? It kind of depends on what your goals are, but if you want to be like a top Champion League player and be very competitive and be the best player in Legend League, whatever, with activity, it's pretty much impossible. There's really nothing you can do. Even if you are perfect at managing resources, using data pads, opening chests, workshop points, everything perfectly, you're not going to be able to get the best of the best things instantly, especially the newest robots and weapons, which are always the most powerful things. And just an example of this, if you're not aware, think of robots and weapons that have had their metas in the past. So way back there were the dash bots, then there was the Ares meta, the leech. More recently, I remember the Eiffel and Curie came out a few years ago, and then Eiffel came out, it was insane, the most powerful Titan in the game. Then it gets nerfed, and then other Titans come out and are better than it, and then it slowly just loses its effectiveness over time. And the Eiffel is actually probably almost a bad example just because it's held up more than other robots and Titans. For example, the Ultimate Arthur fell off super hard, or the Devourer fell off super hard, or the Kaji now. I barely even see the Kajis after they were dominating for a couple months. So those are just a couple examples of builds, robots that have fallen behind. And the big question is, do the power creeps improve or help the game balance, or does it make the game less balanced? In my opinion, it 100% makes the game less balanced, because when there's a balanced game, there's going to be, you should be able to look at every Champion League hangar and see a ton of variety. And now the variety, if you see it, is really just based on, 5 robots, and there's hundreds of potential robots in the game. Yeah, a lot of those robots are kind of blocked behind paywalls, which will bring us to our next category. So power creep was our first one, and now free-to-play versus pay-to-win. So there's a gray area here, because if you're a free-to-play player, but let's say you pay $5 to $10 a month, are you pay-to-win? I mean, not really, but you're not technically free-to-play. There's a gray area, but for the sake of this, we're going to talk about players who virtually spend no real-life money, which I think is the vast majority of players, versus, let's say, ultimate super meta, where you get everything maxed out instantly every month, and it costs a lot of money. Some games you can grind items and get them, or you can pay and it will just speed up progress to that point. Warbots is not one of those games. There's ultimate robots, ultimate titans. This is the perfect example of things that no matter how much you grind or how skilled you are, you're not going to get the ultimate weapons and robots. Those are the premium things. And if you get the newest things, it'll only be once You know, they come through a giveaway or after a month or two when they become more available. So in short, does spending provide an advantage or just speed up progress? It 1000% provides a massive advantage. And that's why, like, if you're in Legend League, I'm pretty sure it's impossible to be in, like, Legend League with the free-to-play hanger. And it goes in different stages, but there are points where I'm like, oh man, free-to-play hangers are actually in a good spot right now. And currently, I would actually say they're in a decent spot. The problem is this rebalance on the test server is coming to pretty much wipe the slate clean, where it's going to nerf like all the good free-to-play robots, whether that's the Teth, which is like the #1 free-to-play robot. It's nerfing the acid shotguns, all the you know, on the line free-to-play weapons and robots. And then comparing the experience of like a new player versus a, let's call it a veteran, like spending player. It's not even comparable. Like, there's no way to compete. That free-to-play new player could play 12 hours a day, every day, and they would just simply not be able to compete. And it also has to be realistic, right? If you're playing a game and it's like, oh yeah, you can pay to speed up your progress, or you can grind for 40 days straight, 13 hours a day, that's not a realistic option. So, free-to-play versus pay-to-win, the divide is definitely there. In free-to-play hangers, like I said, you kind of just have to manage expectations where you're like, okay, you'll be able to get this robot or try this robot eventually, but it's impossible to get it right out of the gate unless you're spending, which is no surprise. And now let's go to the current meta. Our current meta, man, it's so wild how the meta changes like every month. It is currently Anaxar and Vector. Both Anaxar, super annoying. Built-in weapon, way too powerful. The invisibility, we've tried it. Scorpions, ultimate scorpions, and maybe some snipers can counter it. But there's virtually no counter for the invisibility on the Anaxar. Because at least the Kaji, you could get close before when it was meta. This thing's flying in the air. How do you get close to a flying robot? Not great. In the Vector, souped up version of the Raptor, dash, the energy claws, good firepower, pretty much has no weaknesses. And these two robots are also, notice how they're like the only two relevant robots that aren't getting nerfed on the test server, which is, you know, it is what it is. So it's kind of funny because if you ask yourself, does the meta right now in the game in Champion League feel diverse or repetitive? It can feel diverse, but it's not because there's like a lot of robots flourishing. It's more just because of the amount of robots that are in the game. Like, how many robots do we have total, including Titans? I bet we have, is it 150, elite 200 maybe now? So things are going to fall through the cracks where it's like, oh, all of a sudden people are finding this build just because there's so many things, and some things might slip through the cracks and perform better. And we've seen that happen with, like, whether it's the Curie, the Teth, the Nightingale I've seen. But either way, that's kind of the current meta. I hate the current meta, to be honest. The Ambit's there too, but damn, some of these metas suck. And then our final category, which is, I guess, arguably the most important category, is Warbot still fun? I mean, it's kind of crazy to say, but no matter where you are in leagues or competitiveness, Warbots is still fun to play. Like, if I put it in front of you and you play the game, if you're an alien, you game on Earth, you would probably have a pretty good time. And that's kind of the core of Warbots, and probably why the game's lasted so long, is the game is fun. The gameplay is fun. The game modes are great. There's tons of variety. These are good things. And you just have to kind of pick what kind of player you want to be. Like I said, if you want to be a super competitive, like, pay-to-win meta clan war person, then it's going to be impossible if you don't spend a significant amount of money. But if you want to do just solo play or squads in lower leagues, and maybe you're a more casual player, you can have a lot of fun doing that. And one thing I found kind of interesting too is, if you look at Warbot videos or gameplay from 8 years ago, the pace of the game has sped up so much where now for better or worse, the gameplay is sped up so much where robots are faster, they deal way more damage. Like back in the day, you could never get one hit killed. Like I remember you could get hit by trebuchets, and that was like a big thing. It could maybe 2 or 3 hit kill you, but nothing was one hit killing you. Now you can get one hit killed all the time. And you always see the maximized or extreme version of that in the upper leagues. But the game is a lot more fast-paced than it used to be, and I think most people, especially newer players, enjoy that. I kind of like both, where back in the day that's kind of the nostalgia golden era of the Griffin Rhinos, and you have to wait for your jump every 30 or 20 seconds, and that was fun. But then there's aspects of this speed of gameplay that are interesting as well. And then the big question, would I recommend Warbots to a brand new player in 2026? A small child approaches me while I'm dressed as a samurai in a Taco Bell, and he says, should I play Warbots? The question is, I'd probably say, what do you want to play Warbots for? And then I would recommend, I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, yeah, you should play if you want to, and it's fun, which I even have fun. It's 10 years later here. But there's parts of the game that can be super brain dead. So you kind of just have to picture what part of the game that you enjoy and focus in on that, or else it's very easy to get caught up in the rinse and repeat power creep cycles, which can get very much annoying. Like, even I feel like I run a good variety of things. Like, even though I can run those stupid meta hangers, I try to put variety in it, and even I get frustrated once in a while, just getting constantly crushed by Anaxars and Vectors while I'm running, you know, a Scorpion, or I don't even know, an Invader, whatever it is. So yeah, I would recommend it to new players, but try to understand what you want out of the game, if that makes sense. And now to give our final verdict, to rate each category out of 10. So the power creep problem, I mean, in my opinion, that's like the biggest problem with Warbots. So 0 being the worst, 10 being the best. Like, it's a perfect, no issue. I'd give the power creep problem a 2.5 out of 10. It's a big problem. That's like, if I could fix one thing in the game, it would be the power creep. Free to play versus pay to win. How big is the gap between free to play and pay to win players? I'm gonna give that a 4 out of 10. The current meta, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 10 because the meta is pissing me off. And then, is Warbots still fun? Dude, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. There's points where I'm like, dude, this game is still awesome. And then there's other days where I'm like, I'm gonna jump off a cliff, or I'm gonna throw my PC off a cliff and not jump. But there it is. So that is the state of Warbots in 2026. I don't think anyone expected the game to still be alive to this extent in this year, but here we are. And yeah, things I would like to see happen, obviously the power creep problem. But dude, honestly, I think there'd be a huge market for, I think most players are free to play or they spend very little in the game. I would just be curious to see, like, oh, like some kind of subscription thing. Where I know subscriptions, it scares people, me as well. But if you pay like $5 a month, then all of a sudden you get like Warbots Classic, where you're matched with players in the same Warbots Classic mode, and Warbots, they're still making money, so they're happy, and it's a very reasonable amount. That in my mind would be awesome, but you know, it is what it is. Peace out. Let me know what you guys think. Egg rolls. See you later.